Hey, how's everyone doing? It's UV Zoomy back with another video. Today we're going to be going over images and different fonts that we can apply to our HTML code as well as CSS. So I've already went over the basic problem sets and all that for images in Google Fonts, but I'm just going to go over them again to review them, kind of give you a gist of what I've been studying today for the coding bootcamp. So on the image, this is the image learning topic. It goes into how to add images to your HTML code. It's literally just put an IMG tag, and then within that you specify the source, and the source basically within the source you put your link of where your picture is located. And if you've already have it saved within a folder or something, like for example right here it says assets / image.jpg. Then you would specify it that way. You would go down the folders or wherever your image is located. However, for my little projects that I've been doing, I've just been doing links. I didn't want to save the images, and as you can see, I just basically typed in image and I used the first guy that popped up, this guy right here. So yeah, I just kind of did bare bones. Different formats that well, it talks about the different pros and cons of formats right here: JPEG, PNG, SVG, ICO, and GIF. I've used all of these except ICO. Actually, no, I have used ICO. I use ICO. I tried to make a website one time, a drop shipping website. I made a custom ICO, and but obviously that drop shipping website didn't do so well, so I moved on from that. But the SVG, I messed around with that a little bit. I had a buddy draw me a logo for the website I was making, and I basically had some guy do some SVG magic on it, and it made it look animated, which was pretty dope. So yeah, so I'm going to go over some problems with you guys that I've already completed. And as you can see here, the first problem, it says write basic HTML markup, add any image from the World Wide Web to the body of the document, specify alternative text, and the way you do that is with ALT. And alternative text is if the image does not load, basically in place of that image, if it doesn't load on your browser, it'll have a little text of what the image was supposed to be. So here, what I did is I made all this HTML code right here. I added my header tag. I added the character set of UTF-8, which is universal for all the characters we use. I did a simple title. Within my body, I added the image tag, and as you can see, I did opening tag, image, space, source, and source is where you're going to identify, the link of your image, so it populates on your website. That, or if you have it in a certain folder, you would basically, I guess you could say, cascade down to the image in your folder, whether it be in like images / special images / folder 1 / image.jpg or something like that. So as you can see here, I added the link of the image, and then I did a space ALT, and the ALT is alternative text. I did it very basic, and I just said phone. Obviously I didn't get too creative with this. For some reason their code editor, built-in code editor, is not really working, because if I hit preview of what my website would look like, the image is not really loading, but you can see the alternative text. It says phone. So yeah, that's pretty simple right there. I'm gonna try to find a harder one for you guys. So here's one. It just says match the code parts with their values, and here's the whole code right here. Basically, you got your image tag, your source, what your source is for the image, and your alternative text. And as down here, as you can see, I said, well, the image is the tag, alternative text is the attribute which specifies alternative text, and then that's the word I'm looking for, path to image. Kept saying cascaded and all that. So within source, if you don't have a specific link, say you have the image saved in one of your folders, you would put that path to that image within your folder. So this guy has images / bird.gif, and yeah, and that's a pretty simple one too. Let's see if we can get another one. So here's something they just threw at me at random. There's a new attribute that I learned within the image tag, and the image tag is not paired, it's single, so it's by itself. So what that means, a pair tag is it has the opening tag, so like the little Pac-Man looking symbol right here, I forgot the name of it. You open it, say image, you put all your attributes within this little, within these brackets, yeah, that's what they're called. So within the brackets you put your attributes, and then you close it, and then if it was a pair tag you would have a second one like this, and it would look like something like that. But image is not paired, it's just single. And usually with pair tags, after the opening bracket or the opening tag, you would write something in the middle, and that would be your text that would populate on your website. But obviously image is not paired, so it's just by itself. So the cool thing about this problem, I was able to learn a new attribute called loading. And let's see, get more information about loading here. But loading basically dictates how fast your image populates on your website when a user clicks on your website. So there's two values that you can use, I believe. Yep, there's two values. So you can use eager, and it says it loads the image immediately, regardless of whether or not the image is currently within the visible viewport. So eager is just your image loads automatically. Lazy, it's obviously the polar opposite. It says it defers loading the image until it reaches a calculated distance from the viewport as defined by the browser. So basically people would use lazy to avoid network and storage bandwidth needed to handle the image. So basically it's just for bandwidth, I guess necessities or whatever. So I put lazy in mine, and as you can, we go back to the code here. All I simply did was I basically had my basic image tag, my opening image tag. I had my source with the link inside of it. My alternative text, same thing. I was lazy, so I put phone. And my how fast the image will load, I put loading. That's the attribute that you type in, and within the attribute, I just typed in lazy. I could have typed in eager, but the problem actually wants me to use lazy. So that's all on that one. The next topic that I went over today, or that I studied on my free time, was Google Fonts. And basically what this learning topic teaches is Google has its own website of, I think it's 1,000, it says it right here. So this is Google's font website, literally of all fonts that you can literally imagine. It says right here there's 1,357 different fonts that you can use. And you can apply these fonts to your website. So yeah, you can select a font, and then when you select your font, it gives you the HTML code, so you just copy and paste it in your header, which makes it easier. And then if you go over to import, you can copy and paste the CSS code that you need for it to be applied to CSS as well. So if we can go over some problems, I'm going to see if there's anything specific that we're missing here. So another thing is that with the CSS code, you can simply just specify the tag that you want it applied to. So in your CSS code, when you're wanting something applied specifically to a certain tag, you literally just type in the tag. So like, remember I use image img. I could type in img right here, and then open bracket, and then type in the specifics of how I want to stylize that image, or specific what's the word I'm looking for, different tags. But for this one, obviously it's a font, so it's text. So I'm gonna apply CSS styles to the paragraph or the P tag. So right here, as you can see, I have P, open bracket, and the font family I'll be using, and then I'll close the bracket. But before I do that, they want this specific import URL, and basically what it looks like to me is it's just importing the URL of the font that I'm using off of Google Fonts website. So we can go over a couple websites right here. We can go over a couple problems. So here's one of the first problems I did. It says visit the Google Fonts website and use the link tag to connect a font called Mclaren. So they already had it pre-typed for me, most of the code in HTML. The only thing I needed to add was the link tag right here. And it didn't go over this in the reading, but if I go to Mclaren right here, I'll type in Mclaren. So this is the Mclaren font, what it looks like. It looks very basic. I've already selected the style, otherwise it would say select style right here, but it says remove style. And how I get it to populate, if I say view your selected families, I see Mclaren's right here. The link tag is for HTML, so it provides 3 different link tags. I'm going to select the last one since it references the URL where I got the Mclaren font from. I'm just going to ignore the other ones. I don't know why they didn't go over this, but the other ones they don't work. Only this last one works. And it makes sense because it's referencing the actual URL. So yeah, so I would copy and paste this guy right here. I can control C that guy into there. Let me see where I'm at. So I just control V this guy into there, or pasted this guy in there. As you can see, the link tag. And then after I'm done with that, I go over here on the CSS. Well, the CSS was already written up for me, but as you can see, now that I have the link to the Google font that I'm using, down in my paragraph tag, in between it is the text on my website. And if I hit preview, you can see the text right there. Oh, it's so small you can barely see it. But yeah, basically the text that's within here is on this little preview guy of my little website. And basically in my CSS is used for applying different styles to your website. So right here, I called the paragraph tag, basically all paragraph tags, and I said I'm using the font family of Mclaren, and I want it in cursive, and then I did a closing bracket. And then if I could get this website thing to pull up, I can't really get it to pull up because it's so small. It's just skipping it. But basically, you would be able to see the text and it being in cursive with the Mclaren font. All right, so let's see if we can get a harder one. Alright. So here's the second problem. It says visit the Google Fonts website, and now it's asking me to find a different font called permanent marker in HTML code. Then copy the CSS styles in a pop-up window on the website to find this font family and apply them to the paragraph tag. The styles to be copied are under the heading specify in CSS. So how I'm gonna go about this is same thing I did with the other one. So it's called, the font is called permanent marker. So I'm gonna go in here, permanent marker. Here it is right here. I'm gonna click into it. So now I can hit select style right here. So now I have Mclaren and permanent marker, but I want permanent marker. I don't want Mclaren. I'm just gonna go ahead and remove it. So permanent marker. HTML code I want is the one with the link, so I can copy and paste that guy right here, and I would copy and paste them right here with the link tag and the header tag. Now why they want in the header tag, I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure they'll cover that more in further topics, but whenever you're copy and pasting these link tags, you always want to put them in the header tags. Once I do that, I went over here and I got the CSS code that they provided right here. So in the middle, I'm not going to copy the style part. I'm just going to copy the import, because the style is indicating, as you can see, it's a tag, and that's indicating HTML code, which I'm not worried about that. I'm actually wanting to apply this to CSS, so I'm just going to copy this middle guy right here at import, and I copy and paste this at import tag right here, and it basically gives me the, as you can see, it gives me the link to basically to the font that I'm using. And then I go down here, my text is within the paragraph tag, obviously, and then as you can see, it says success is 1%, inspiration 99%, I can't even say that word, perspiration, whatever. Don't make fun of me for that. So basically, me calling out to this P tag in CSS, I'm basically saying, hey, I'm using the font family of permanent marker, and I want it to be cursive. Now we can see the website will actually let me see it. For some reason, the website won't let me see it because it's so small. But as you can see, as I scroll up or down, you can kind of see the text. You can kind of see that it's cursive, kind of, sort of. But yeah, it's another problem. Applying the permanent marker style instead of the Mclaren style. And going down here, this is where this problem actually ran into a lot of problems, because if you see on the website, it provides 3 different HTML tags. At first I just copied everything in here, but supposedly you're just supposed to copy this guy. And I didn't know that until I looked at the comments. Comments are very helpful. And the very first one that popped up, this guy did the same thing. He copied and pasted all 3 of them. And this guy's basically saying, hey, you only need the one with the rel equals style sheet. And then if you look back at it, it makes sense because it has the link and everything, and yeah. So this one was kind of tricky. I was getting confused on it, but with the help of the comments and the users in the comments, I was able to figure out the problem. And yeah, and I guess, and another thing that threw me off was if I go to @import, at first I was copying and pasting all this, and I saw the style tag, and I've messed with the style tag before, and I was like, okay, so I'll put that in the HTML code. When I put it in the HTML code, it wasn't working. I went in the comments, and that's where they told me that I just need to copy the @import and put that in my CSS code. And remember, again, HTML is basically going to define what's the content of your website. CSS will define the style of your website, and JavaScript will define the behavior of your website. Once we start touching up more on JavaScript, that's where it's going to get more challenging, because how we define the behavior of our website can get very complicated, versus content of your website. I could just say, oh, I want this image, here's the link. The style of your website with CSS, I could just say, oh, hey, I want to mess with this tag, I want it to be this color, this and that. But when you get to JavaScript, that's where you start having that's the real bulk, or the real meat of building a website, or the programming language. So yeah, that's just a simple rundown of everything. I was thinking today, I don't know what you guys think of this, if you want to leave a comment below, but I was thinking about having or asking the instructors at the coding bootcamp if I can record each day of class, and then basically what I'll do is each day that I'm recording, and instead of taking an 8-hour video, I'll just break it down to a highlight of the day. So it'd be like a 10-minute highlight of the day. So I could say Space Force Coding Bootcamp Day 1 highlights, and then the next day I can say Space Force Coding Bootcamp Day 2 highlights. So I don't know what you guys think of that, but I'm definitely considering doing that. But yeah, so I've learned these 2 topics today, images and Google Fonts. I hope you learned a little bit with me. After this video, I'm still going to be studying, because 2 learning topics is not enough for something that's coming up in February. So I'm going to probably be learning like 5 more topics on JavaScript or front-end development, and then I'm going to go to Kotlin. That's where I really have my mind at ease, because Kotlin's really what I want to learn. And I'll probably learn like 2 topics on there and probably finish the project on there. But other than that, I'm UV Zumi. Thank you for tuning in. Peace out.